Good morning, YouTube. There's a new list out from Forbes that I thought was very fascinating, where they actually logged a lot of data to figure out which state has the most terrible drivers, the worst states to drive in, based on a lot of data.
Right.
They did like 8 different factors, including number of fatal car accidents per 100,000 licensed drivers, number of drunk drivers involved in a fatal accident, fatal accidents involving distracted drivers, drowsy drivers, and driving too fast, and then DUI arrests as well, and drivers that looked at their phone. So the ones that weren't fatal are like 7 to 3% of their
Right.
total score, and they did it for all 50 states. So it ranked
That's really
from
cool.
50 to 1. Today we'll cover the 10 worst. But,
Right.
So what do you think would be the worst?
I think that's cool because it's like an actual real list of data. Like there's no
Right.
opinions about it.
Yes.
I'm going to go with California because
Really?
I feel like people are so entitled and about themselves. And I don't really want to say that about everybody in California, but there's a little bit of being in that industry where you have to be really into yourself. And what am I talking about? I'm totally in that industry too. But when you live in California, it's all like you're building your own personal brand and you're just a little more self-centered.
Well,
than
with your
everyone
career,
else.
you would have been better off if you moved to California, but that was sort of the reason you didn't want to, right?
Yeah. But people are a little more pretentious, perhaps, and they're more into themselves, and so that's why I'm thinking they're just not paying attention to other people on the road. And that's
Yes.
the only factor that I'm going off of.
Well, California is actually one of the best driving states as far as the fatalities and everything else. Believe it or not, it
Wow.
is 40 out of 50. So
40 out of 50
yes,
states?
13.37, the number of fatal car accidents out of 100,000 drivers, which is actually pretty low.
It's
And
safe in
3.99
California.
out of 100,000 for drunk drivers, fatal accidents per 100,000
It's
people.
crazy because it's like, if you've ever driven in California, I feel like the lanes are like closer together and everyone's driving so fast. And then motorcycles do the lane splitting, which, like, I'm from Chicago. You can't, if you're in a motorcycle, you can't drive in between the lanes, in between cars.
I wonder if it's just the congestion. It's just stopping people from
Yeah.
going too fast and killing each other.
Right.
It's just too crowded. You can't go fast and have a huge accident that kills someone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would have thought it would have been somewhere in the Northeast, like Virginia, West Virginia, New York, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But once again,
Wait,
too congested.
what's wrong with West Virginia, New York?
Something about West Virginia plates, I know Doug DeMuros talks about this, how they're just people to avoid. Maryland plates, Baltimore area,
Yeah.
that kind of very, like,
Oh, got it.
scary drivers.
Yeah.
But no, those are all actually shaded in, like in this map you can see, it's different
Yeah.
shades of blue on how bad it is.
How is Kansas?
Well, we'll get to that. So, number 10 as far as the worst is Missouri. And they have
Oh.
a score of 84.5 out of 100, which the higher the score, the worse it is.
Wow.
So 8.28 per 100,000 fatality
Right.
accidents. So
Right.
California was 3.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay,
and
I'm
then
avoiding
1.3
Missouri.
when it comes to DUI related deaths. Yeah.
Right.
So that's pretty high. Number 9, Mississippi, which is 85.04 out of 100. And number 8 is indeed Kansas. 86.63 out of 100.
That's so weird because there's not a ton of congestion and traffic and everything around these
but
states.
a lot of open roads, a lot of places to just go fast, a lot of highways.
Population isn't even that high.
Here's what's interesting. It's the 3rd highest state for fatal car accidents involving a drowsy driver.
Kansas?
It's Kansas. It's flat, it's straight.
boring?
There's not a lot to see, so you're just driving straight. You just kind
Boring.
of start to nod
It's
off.
so boring. It's fun. And it's
And
beautiful.
you're dead.
There's beautiful sunsets, and the sky goes on forever because there are no mountains and to obstruct everything, and it's
Same
beautiful,
goes
but-
for distracted drivers. 3rd highest in this list, just because I think people just the landscape and the stuff around it's like it's all the same. So I'm gonna start looking at my phone or something else, and then
There's nothing to do in
dead.
Kansas, and
Yeah. So
it's that dangerous
yep,
here.
yep. And then 2nd highest for people who disobey traffic signs, traffic signals, or traffic officer. So yeah, how about that? So it's not for just like normal fatalities. It's just the unusual ones involving people just not paying attention to their surroundings.
Or
which
not
is,
caring because there's no one else on the
Right.
road and the light's red forever, and you blow past it because there's nobody around.
Yeah,
I don't know who would do that.
I would have never thought, but I guess because we can just there's so many wide open spaces to go fast,
Right.
and people just don't pay attention to make bad decisions.
They're disobeying the law in Kansas. We're outlaws here.
Yeah, number 7, Kentucky, 88.45, so a pretty big jump.
Wow.
Yeah, 4th highest involving distracted drivers. They have a lot more DUI-related fatalities than Kansas. So I guess they're drinking there in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Number 6, Louisiana.
I'm shocked at the states that are on this list. 'Cause
Right.
I'm just totally thinking it'd be Chicago, Illinois, New York, California, like the big, heavily populated areas.
It seems like these wide open states with not much to do. People
Yeah.
are distracted, people are drunk,
Right.
and or people are falling asleep. This is one of those. Louisiana is definitely one of those. Number 5 is Montana, 92.
No, it's not.
A huge
It is not.
jump. A huge jump from
Everyone's
Kansas.
so
Yep.
happy when they live in Montana because you're peaceful. You find your zen. Like, that's where it's at.
Apparently it's driving too fast because they're 5th highest in going too fast and
Okay.
dying. So 7.77 out of 100,000. 8th highest in DUI arrests, 7th highest in drowsy driving, and 10th highest in fatal car accidents just in general. So there you go.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Number 4 is Oklahoma, a neighbor to the south, which I agree. The Oklahoma drivers are way worse than Kansas. Jake,
they?
obviously, yeah, it's obvious. Yes.
Jake, you concur?
Yes. 6th highest total in fatal accidents, is the 8th highest in distracted drivers, 8th highest in driving too fast, 9th for drunk, and 9th for people who disobey traffic signs. So
Yeah.
they're all sort of in the upper middle, or I suppose the top, but it's just so many that they're
Yeah.
number 4. So yeah, be careful in Oklahoma.
I have
Yep.
no reason to go to Oklahoma.
Well, number 3, if you want to drive to Texas, you have to go through Oklahoma. That's the only reason. Well, I guess Grand Lake, we do go to the lake in
True.
Oklahoma. So,
Okay.
yes, Texas is really bad. 95.12 out of 100. Second highest drunk driver
So
fatalities.
the third worst state
Right.
ever is Texas to drive in.
Yes, second highest in drunk driver fatality. 4th highest for drowsy drivers. 6th highest for people going too fast. Yeah,
Texas is dangerous.
very dangerous.
Wow. Okay,
Yes.
I wouldn't have put Texas on the list.
I've had a lot of scary incidents in Texas, especially in Dallas and the crazy traffic there, and it seems like a lot of speeding.
Right.
I feel like if you're going the speed limit going through Dallas, you are getting ran over. So that makes sense as far as the speed being an issue in Texas as far as causing issues. Number 2, though, is Wyoming, which is a very sparsely populated state, and they
you
have a
kidding me?
96.62 out of 100.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What does it say about Wyoming?
It's the highest for drowsy drivers falling asleep and dying.
I,
Yeah. Second highest for total fatal car accidents per 100,000 people. 25 per 100,000 people,
see,
which is
I
a
didn't
lot.
realize the drowsiness was that big of a deal. You know, my
Mm-hmm.
2015 ML 350 had that, coffee cup that would pop up if you were
Right.
driving for a certain amount of time to wake you up and take a coffee
You could
break.
tell if you weren't making enough steering inputs,
Oh, okay.
basically. So when you're driving down the road, you have a lot of little micro corrections that you need to make, and
Right.
it'll notice if you just don't start doing it for a while. And
Right.
it'll say, hey, maybe time to take a break as you're sort of
Right.
seeming drowsy.
Well, and as
Yeah.
annoying as that prompt is, now I completely understand it. It makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, and they should be adding them more because it's very dangerous. It's a very real
Yeah,
thing.
but Wyoming also 4th highest for drunk drivers and 5th highest for distracted driving. So very high, much, much higher than those ones on the bottom list. But there is one that is way
Yeah.
above them all.
What is it?
It got a perfect 100 out of 100 score.
Okay, so this is a state that you never want to drive in. You want to go around it.
Super duper dangerous, and
What
that
is
is
it?
New Mexico.
What?
Highest number of distracted drivers killing people or themselves, 10 out of 100,000. Highest number for people driving too fast, 9.66 out of 100,000.
is going on
Third
there?
highest for just car accidents in general, 25.65 fatal accidents per 100,000 people. Third highest in drunk drivers, and 6th highest for drivers who disobey the traffic laws.
What's going on in New Mexico? What's the deal?
Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yes. Is that in New Mexico? Is
There you
that a
go.
documentary from New Mexico?
I helped open, not that I was involved with it, but a few Freddy stores in New Mexico, and it can be very rough.
Yeah.
Very, very rough. So as far as people making bad decisions with their lives, and a lot of wide open spaces,
Right.
and yeah, it's a perfect cocktail of death.
That's
apparently.
really scary. Do you know what the scariest place, the most dangerous place is for felines? For
Neelix?
cats? For cats?
Oh, are we bringing up what
Or,
happened?
do you know where the most
Yeah.
scariest place is for
Whenever April goes out of town.
poor Neil? You guys are not like, this is a true story. This actually happened, and
So a concrete truck showed up, didn't kill anybody, but tried to.
Yes.
Basically poured the back patio. And Neelix has a little hidey hole under the back deck, which actually sort of connects to the back patio. But they filled in a spot that I thought was going to be a flower bed, and it became concrete. But that's where Neelix's little hole that he would go into, she would go into to hide. And that was on Thursday, and I didn't see Neelix Thursday night. April was gone in Chicago. I didn't see Neelix Friday night. And I didn't see Neelix, Saturday.
yeah.
And finally, like, I realized Thursday night in the middle of the night, I was like, what if the cat's stuck under the deck? So I
Right.
go out at 2 in the morning because I can't go to sleep. Call the cat. Nothing. Friday, nothing. Jake has the tag on Neelix, and for whatever reason, his is the only phone that works to track people. He says it keeps pinging by the house. It's fine. Saturday, finally, Neelix starts speaking up that I am
Right.
stuck under the deck.
Yes.
So the concrete guys filled in Neelix's little hidey hole under the deck. She hates the loud noises, and unfortunately, I hadn't seen her since. Finally, 2 days later, she starts meowing from under the deck, and one board off, and out jumps a cat. Neelix, you all right? 2 days in captivity. Hi.
So bad.
So, yeah, you had an interesting experience there, Neelix. I had to take apart the deck to get the cat out.
You literally
And-
took the deck board off the deck to free Neelix, who emerged covered in spider webs.
Yes.
That poor thing.
And ate 2 full cups of food. So-
Yes. I'm surprised that she made it through.
Oh, it
almost
rained, so
lost
there was
her.
water under the deck. But yeah,
I can never leave Kansas again. It's very dangerous for anybody. Well, for Neelix if I leave Kansas. Poor baby.
she's trapped here. Like Neelix
We're
was.
both going to be trapped under the deck
Yes.
soon. You're like, oh, that's a great spot. Let's put them both in there.
Thank you so much for watching.
Neelix lives. You're alive. You're alive.